Hi, Joe Cerrone.
Al Rosen.
Welcome to our Zoom classroom meeting for today, November 17th, 2020. Today we're going to go through our furniture installation plan, in which we will use our student drawing file to create blocks of furniture, attributes, and then place those furniture symbols into the drawing. So with that, students should have downloaded the student file for this project. And once they have that file downloaded, you can open the file in AutoCAD here. And so you should have the drawing of the different furniture components. And those should be drawn on layer 0. So if I look at this, it says layer 0. And why do we use layer 0, Al?
That's easier because everything's set up right to 0, and then we can change it to wherever we want. And it'll take that level of coloring and everything else along with it. And then we can change it anything we want to get around.
Yeah, the easiest in layman's terms is like a chameleon, where it will match the color and the line type. And so think of it that way, where if you create a block on layer 0, and if we review how to create these blocks, what the author had us do is to create W blocks and export them. But let's not go there yet. I think what we'll do is we'll go right by the book. And so if I come back here to here and we look at the chapter, we'll go through chapter 9 and the chapter objectives. So the objectives here are to use the attribute command, the attribute display, the block attribute manager, and data extraction for attributes. And that's basically it. A lot of these commands are kind of redundant. You know, W block is a way of creating blocks that are out there as a drawing. But everything is pretty much tied to creating blocks and then attributes. And so as we look at this chapter, we have this furniture installation plan. And in the reception room, we have a secretarial desk and a chair. And then that information there
You still with us, Joe?
yeah, I just stopped talking.
Oh.
So that information there requires gives you the information about the furniture. And so it gives you a description, it gives you the manufacturer, the size, and the material. And so that information then will allow us to track how many desks are in the room, how many chairs, and create a bill of material or a list of furniture within the floor plan. So the first thing we do is we draw the furniture symbols. And so we've already gone and done that. If we switch back here to AutoCAD, and I'm going to try splitting the screen for this and see if we can make this work. There we go. Close enough. And then over here, the furniture symbols must be drawn in plan view. In other words, in the top view, goes through the different chapters, but it basically says draw it on layer 0 because blocks will be made from that. And then we're going to go through and we're going to use the ATTDEF command. So we come over here and then we type in ATTDEF. And that's our attribute definition. And what that does is it ties the attribute like description to the block. It has different variables with that. And so some of the variables like invisible, meaning it wouldn't show up. And so why would you use invisible? You wouldn't maybe want everybody to know how much the furniture costs. And so, you know, by putting in the cost of the furniture as an invisible attribute, then just the person who manages the database can get information like that. Another thing is constant, meaning that you would not change the value. So things like part numbers are good constant values. And then it goes over here and it shows the empty floor plan and the furniture blocks. And then over here, it says, make sure you draw the furniture and the attributes on layer 0. So we go through and we draw them all. And then it kind of comes back here and talks a little bit more about these different modes of attributes. Verify means that when you put the attribute in, it'll ask you twice. And so if you put an attribute in that says telephone number, and then you put in the phone number, it'll ask you to re-put in the phone number to verify it. Preset, in my opinion, is the same as constant. I don't really understand the distance. Well, I guess here it is. It can't be changed, whereas preset will allow you to change it. All right, fair enough. And then variable allows you to change it to whatever you want. So again, here's all our blocks, and here's the tags with the description, manufacturer, product, size, and finish. Step 3, keep layer 0 current. Create a new text style called attribute with the simplex font. Do not make this annotative, set it current. Zoom in to the reception desk. Define the attribute. And so we typed in ATT, ATTDEF. The attribute dialog box appears. Click on constant. So constant off, constant on, meaning it will not prompt you. Type DESC in the tag. So we come over here and we type in DESC. And I'm going to add RIPTION so we can do it a little bit different. Or should we do it this? I'll do it exactly the same. I don't think it'll give me an error if I have already a description in there. And it appears to be all capitals. So let's just stay with that. And then the default will be reception desk. I put my computer on top of a bunch of books, and so I'm like the praying mantis when I type. We'll say center. And these are text settings, meaning it's going to grab the center of the text when I put that in. It's using the attribute text style. And then it is important to have the text height set up. And apparently, I'm not sure why it seems to be grayed out here, but it's probably from the text style. Rotation angle will be 0. And then we click OK, and then we just put it on the desk. And then we do the next one, which will be manufacturer. So we say OK. And then we just put it right here on the desk like that. And then we go and we do the same command again. And so we say ATT DEF. And this time the tag is going to be MFG. I guess not. It wants us to type in PROD. I thought it was going to put that in there. So step 7. Product. Clear all the check marks in mode. Response, under prompt, enter product number. And then the default is this product number here. It does have verified checked off on this box. I don't know if that's something that I missed in here. But I'm just going to follow this by the book. Okay. So once we have enter the product number, type in the value, a line below previous is important. And so here's this little check mark. What it does is it just keeps them all lined up so that you don't have them like
That
messy.
all the place.
Makes it neat. So once we do that, all we do is click OK, and it'll actually just drop down right underneath the last one. So if I click OK, there it is. And so we just continue this same scenario where we go through and then we create the next attribute, and the next attribute will be size. So we come back over here, ATTDEF. The tag will be size. The prompt will be enter size. And then the default will be the size of this desk. The justification will be left. I usually make these centered. Didn't they make the last one center, Al?
No, they always on to the left.
Oh, okay. You're right. So we'll leave it as left attribute. All the things are the same. We want to align it below the previous so that they all stay lined up. And then we just say, okay. Am I missing anything on this one, Al?
No, that's all.
Good. And then it'll pop that one right underneath it. With attributes, until they're attached to a block, you can just move them to kind of clean things up. And so attributes, until they're defined to a block, you can move them like that. And then we're going to go through and we'll do size and finish. And so again, we come back over here, ATTDEF, and then we're going to go with size.
You have size already, Joe.
Yep. And we're going to go with finish. Let's see if they have a screen for that. They do. Enter finish. And then the default will be oiled walnut.
You need to go to verify too.
And this one they put on as center. See, I knew they were doing a little goofiness here.
Yeah.
So they're not sticking with left, but I think we'll leave it at left because everything, see, in my opinion, all of them should be center aligned so that the text is centered. So I'm going to make them all centered, and I'll show you how to change that. And so we'll just leave it left for right now. We'll align it below previous. I think I have everything set. So we'll okay that. And there it is with finish. And then if we go down the last one, that was the last one. So we can edit the attribute with DD edit. And so DD edit. And then I can click on this description, product, size, and finish. And it allows us to edit the default values in the prompt. We can go to quick properties and get some information on that with QP. And then we can select our attribute definition and hit enter. And it'll tell us the tag, the value and the attribute. And anything in these properties can be changed by clicking in there also. And so the properties command in quick properties is probably one of the most powerful things for changing, because it lets you change everything. And then it wants us to create a W block with the furniture, with the attribute symbol. And so when we create these W blocks, what we're really doing is creating these libraries. And so it wants us to put this W block with a base point in this corner right here. And it wants us to put it in a folder somewhere. And so we come back over here. You'll notice the dimensions are not part of the drawing. And so we won't include those when we make the W block. We'll say W block. And then where I'm going to put it is I'm going to create a folder here in my CAD-134 directory called furniture. I thought I could just right click and say new. Maybe I need a blank space. There it is, new folder. And I'll call it, I like to put my name on it so I know it's mine. So I'll make it Joe's Furniture just to keep it straight. And then I'll click here. And then that's where all of this furniture is going to go. And then the name of this is going to be
Figure 9-18.
Yeah, they go all over the place and then they kind of circle it back. Reception desk is what it looks like.
Okay.
So they're kind of overloading it. Let's just call it Joe's reception desk for this time. We'll say reception. See, what's going to happen is we're going to have redundancy with the blocks depending on it. So I'm going to just put an X on the end of everything that I do today so that we can then see what's going on. I'm going to cancel that right here because I already created the directory for it. Here's where it's at. So there we go. So this is going to go to Joe's Furniture. And then that will be that. And then I'm going to switch this over to select the objects. Now, when I used to select the objects, let me hit escape out of that and do that again. When I used to select the objects, I used to select them in the order I wanted to be prompted for the attribute. So I'm going to select it like that because it drives me nuts when it asks me for size before it asks me for description. Maybe they've changed this glitch, but that's how I like to define my blocks with attributes. And for the base point, we'll put it right here. And then the name of it here, it says new block. And I'm going to go and name it the name that they called it, which was receptionist desk with an X. I've selected the objects. I've given it a base point. And when I say OK, it writes that file out to the directory. And so if I go and I look at my directory structure for my CAD-134 class, I should have one block. And there it is, reception desk X. So that's what W blocks do. They write out the furniture because if you just create a block, then it's only used within that drawing. It's in what's called the block table. So we can insert the W block with the attributes now by going to the iFurniture layer, and then we will set the attribute Not sure what attribute DIA is. Is it attribute display, meaning 0, meaning we'll be able to see it, I believe, right, Al? So we come back over here. I'm going to have to move everybody. We go to our floor plan. And I think we have, I think this will work. And so I'm going to make this bigger. There it is. That's the one I want. So this is the page that we're going to insert the blocks on. And you'll notice that I'm in floating model space. If I double click outside of the viewport, if I tried to put the furniture in now, it's so huge, it would be at scale. But if I double click in the viewport, then it'll be at a scale. And so getting back to inserting it, if we come back and we split our screen again, we would set our attribute display to 1. And then we'll use the insert command. I'm just going to type it in. I like that you don't have to type everything correctly spelled. Oh no. I'm going to pause the video while I fix this. Pause record. Insert. Maybe I'll have to pull it from a menu. Insert. And then we'll say insert. And then we'll go blocks from library. It's killing me. Let me go and pause it again. Resuming, we're going to insert our block with the attribute. So we double click in the viewport and then we say insert. I'm going to pull up a different drawing if it does continue this.
You still have 2020 on there? AutoCAD 2020. Did you pause the video?
So to insert the W block, we're going to go to insert and we're going to say blocks from library. And that seems to be our glitch. Now we don't have to do this as a W block. So I'm going to pause the recording while I get this thing set up, and we can just do it as a regular block. It could be something with the directory structure. Let's just go back to AutoCAD. We don't have to pause. We can just fast forward through this. So back to, I'm going to open up a different file. Let's try this one from last week. All right. So this one has the completed aspect of it. And it takes a minute while it goes out and tries to find the external references. So my computer will recover in about 10 seconds. You'll see it kind of flash. There it goes. Okay. And then what we can do here, what I did when it gives me my mouse back, is to turn off the layer with the furniture on it. And so that's the I furniture layer. And actually what I'll do is I'll make it active. I'll make a new layer. And this will be called, whoops, not that one. New layer. I wanted it to be exactly like the last one. And then I'll make that layer active and I'll turn the other one off. There we go. So let's try this. So the idea was then in model space to create these blocks with the attributes. And then I'm going to create that by saying create block. Let's try it as a W block. So we'll say W block. And I'll put it to the same location, which could be the problem with it. Let's not do it as a W block. Let's just do it as a regular block. So we'll say bmake, and we'll call it reception desk. We'll specify the base point on the screen, excuse me, right here. We'll select the objects. And again, when I select them, I choose the attributes first in the order I want to be prompted, and then I give the geometry. You'll see it has a little bit of a glyph. We could put a description on there, but we won't. And so we'll call this reception desk, and I think I'll add the X to it just so that that works. Oh, good, no glitch. And then if I go to the page here where we insert this, you can see the viewport is locked. I'm still within that. We say insert.
Unlock the viewport, please.
I don't know if that's going to make a difference. There we go. Should I try it now?
Yep, please.
No. So unfortunately, we're having some more glitches with this. I'm not too sure what I can do about that. Maybe I can.
So we're back in model space by itself.
I was thinking that too. So maybe we can just put one out to the side and let's just see what happens. We could go right here, try it. And then let's turn off this dimension layer. And then we're on the iFurniture layer too. So we'll try it again. Insert. No, it's glitchy.
Type in classic, please. And go down to, where is it down there?
I'm going to pause the recording here. So we had a glitch and we're using classic insert. And what that means is it's going to use the insert command the way it used to work from previous version. And I'll browse to my W block. In Joe's furniture. I only did the desk. I'll open that. And then I'll be able to rotate it and specify the insertion point. See, this is what I meant about centering all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be a little bit
So Okay, yeah, redefine.
And so I'll put this right here, and then I can rotate it. And then it lets me fill in the attribute information, which if we come back here and look at that from the textbook, there we go. So we're inserting that. We've inserted the desk. Here's our reception desk. Here we've placed it. We're on, hopefully, well, I'm on layer 0, which is, or I'm on the proper layer. And so we just insert it with the attributes and we just say, okay. And there's our desk with our blocks. And once it's there, you can just move it around as you see fit. We can go back into model space. Actually, we are in model space. And then we can define attributes for the others. Now, what you'll find, rather than to copy some of those attributes that were not quite right, I'll W block this one out. And if I look at this with a quick properties, I can then see some basics on it. I was hoping to see the attribute alignment on there, but I do not see that because the attribute alignment is best when they're all centered. And so I think it's Batman, where I can take a look at it. And so if I look at these different modes, constant, verify, constant, apparently it doesn't let me, I guess I think I can edit it right here. Text options, centered. So this is what I want. I want them all to be centered and I want to be able to edit my attributes. And then I'm going to make this one into a block. I'll have to look at my exercise to see the name of it. And this one's called table desk. And so we'll go back and we'll say W block. And we'll locate it in the same location. That's fine. And name of it is going to be table desk. I will select the base point for it, and I'm just going to select where I think it's appropriate. And so I'm just going to select it right in the center, and then I'm going to select the objects. Again, I like to select the attributes in the order I want to be prompted. If they've updated this, great. If not, we're just being on the safe side. So that's going to be that, and I'll say okay. And then if I want to go and insert that, we're not doing it in model space, but if I look at the floor plan itself, on page 441, this is in the president's office and in office number 2. So I would say insert. And we want to use that classic insert, right, Al?
Sure.
Classic insert. And then we'll browse over for our table desk. We'll say okay. And we'll say okay. And then we'll put it right here. And like that. Again, it gives us the chance to update the attribute if we need to, and we'll say okay. And then there's a second one. Now, you don't have to insert it every time. You can just copy it. And so we can just copy it, attributes, it'll still count, just like that. And then if we come back to our curriculum, we can basically go through and just complete it. And so here we have some additional blocks to insert. And so we can insert the planter and then the lounge chairs. So over here, we find our planter. the attributes have already been created. Now, you don't have to go through and define the attributes every single time. You can just copy them before they're attached to a block, and that will work. But the trick is to copy them before you make it into a block. So then the planter is named planter. And so we'll say classic insert. And we'll call it planter. And we'll put this, actually I need to make a classic make block, not a classic insert. So classic
All I have to do is type in WB. Go,
WB.
WB. Hit enter. Now you're making a right block.
Okay. And then I'll pick the point for it right here. I'll select the objects. Again, description. I'm going to leave the dimension off of it. Enter. And OK. And then let's do the furniture. I'm just going to choose, I don't know which one is which here. Let's see here. It appears to be, it will be this one now. And so well, the third one down is the lounge chair. So it has a little bit more comfort, I think. So this will be our lounge chair. Okay. WB. And then we'll map it to our save file location. And we'll call it lounge chair. We'll hit save. We'll pick the point of insertion on it. And I usually put these at the midpoints. And then I'll select the objects. Not the dimensions. And I'll OK that. And let's do this desk underneath it also. So there is a corner table and a coffee table. We'll do the corner table, which is right here. And so we'll WB. We'll select the objects. We'll get the insertion point. I'm going to just eyeball it. Nope, won't let me. Base point will be right there in the center. I've selected the objects, 7 objects selected. It's going to go to that spot, but it didn't give it the right name. And so when I click on this, I need to give it the name called corner table. And we'll save it and OK it. And then when we go to insert the corner table in the chairs here, we can say classic insert. And then we can browse over and we can get our corner table.
Redefine it.
And we'll place that right there. And then like that, and OK it. And then we'll insert the chairs. Whoops. And our planter as well. And like I was saying before, you can just copy them. So I believe there's 4 chairs. We can just go here and copy them. And then I can copy this one here and rotate it. Once they're inserted into the drawing, the attributes will maintain. And then we can insert the plant. Okay. What do you think, Al?
Looks fantastic.
All right, so we've done one room, and I don't think we need to do all of the rooms. It goes through and talks about the attribute editor. And so I'm not sure where the text talks about this. Let's
Would
see.
you go over one of the attributes that you just installed, please? Go to AutoCAD back, please, real quick.
Sure, just tell me what to do.
Double click on one of the attributes. And then you can change whatever you want on it.
Right, so here's the value. If I want to add an X to it, I can add it and I'll say okay. And now it's got a little X on it. If I double click on it again, I can take that away. Great. All right, you're saving me, Al. I appreciate it. All right, so let's take a look at where we go from there. You can change the attribute visibility by typing in ATTDISP. And so if we come back here and we don't want to see the attributes, we're showing it to a client. They don't need to know all the costs and where it's from. ATTDISP, attribute display, and then we can just turn off. And now it looks like a regular furniture plan. We can come back to ATTDISP, turn it on, and then we have all our database information. It goes through a lot of different ways to just, here's our ATTDISP. And when we redefine blocks, basically it changes them wherever that block was used. Here's Batman, and Batman does the same thing as double clicking on it. Really, it just allows you to manage the attribute. So if we come back here and we go to BAT, it allows me to go through and make any changes. You can move them up and down. So I guess, you know, instead of selecting them in order, you can just move them up and down this way as well with Batman. All right, so I'm going to end the recording here, and then we'll do another recording for the attribute extraction, because I think we're in a good spot to do that. Before I stop this recording and make another one, Al, is there anything you can think of I need to do?
If you go to AutoCAD real quick, please.
Sure.
And if for some reason they forgot how to change, modify, or need to do something, they can take the attribute and the block itself, move it out, and explode it and change what you want also. That redefine the W block.
Right. So if you explode it, then you have to make it back into a block. And so it separates it down back to its base pieces. And then you can redefine the block and fix it.
Double click on one of those, like let's say to finish. Double click on the finish, please, real quick. Name finish.
This one here?
Yep. And if you want to change something in there, you can if you want to. There's the prompt. Instead of prompt is like that, I would say change it to something else like walnut, white, whatever else. Hit OK.
Yeah, instead of black leather, let's go with white leather. Everything is white and gray now. And so then when we create it into a block again for the next time, we could call it white lounge chair when my computer comes back.
Right.
It's glitching on me. There we go.
Not feeding the right stuff to it.
So once we have that, then we can go and we can say W block. And then we go and locate it. And then we'll call it lounge chair -W for white. And we'll save it. We'll select the objects again. Again, I always like to be prompted in that order. Give it a base point. And okay it. Let's get rid of it and put it in again. And it looks identical. The only thing is that it has white leather instead of black leather. So that's how to define an attribute. We had a little bit of a glitch. We had to use classic insert if you have the same glitch. But once you define these attributes, you can just copy them. These are the exact same, but the values are a little bit different. So you can copy the tags, and then you can define the tags like size is different on each one of these. But you can save yourself a few steps by doing that. All right, I'm going to stop this recording, and that's how to create the blocks with attributes and insert them into the furniture plant.